that those who were in communities where internet connectivity was very bad, and we used our bulk messaging system. Valley View has a bulk SMS system that we use for sending information. So those who could not access the internet could receive these important updates via bulk SMS. And you will agree with me that any phone, whether a feature phone, a smartphone, can receive SMS, provided you are in an area where MTN, Vodafone, Airtel, Tigo, etc. works. So that was done. Then it got to data migration. Valley View University has an intelligent school management system that handles right from admissions to graduation. So students had already registered for courses for that semester. So what we did was to migrate the students' courses and lectures from our school management system to the e-learning platform. And one thing that we used that really helped was the Cohorts Migration system, where we put students, courses, and lectures in cohorts. So we started with our regular mode. We migrated them first. We moved on to the sandwich mode. We did that. And with all these, we migrate the courses. After that, we migrate students. We enroll the students in the courses. We also enroll lecturers in those courses. And if you are using the cohorts, what you can do with the cohort is this. After you have migrated your students, you can put all of them in a particular cohort based on the courses they are doing. So when it comes to enrolling these students on the e-learning platform on each course, you just enroll the cohort and not the individual students. So as soon as you enroll the cohort, everybody in that cohort is added to a particular course. So that was done to make the work easier. We also looked at taking the burden away from our learners and our teachers or faculty. We wanted to make it as simple as possible. So in the case of our lectures, what we did was to help them prepare their content. And after that, we uploaded all the resources we needed to teach online. So what faculty had to do was to log in with credentials they already knew and were comfortable with and teach. In the case of students, we took the burden of enrolling them to make sure no student gets into the wrong course. So students were enrolled and they logged in with the credentials they were already using on our school management system, and their courses were there on their portals and they could access them. So that burden was taken away from our learners and our teachers. Then we also set up activity notification for our lecturers. Okay, we installed an attendance module that took care of attendance tracking. So as soon as the lecture begins, if it's a synchronous lecture, the attendance module checks when the lecture began and when the lecture ended. And based on that, attendance is taken. Okay, the lecturer had the flexibility of tweaking the settings to take attendance himself or herself. And we notified lecturers of students who had never logged into the system. Students who were not submitting assignments, although they log in always. We were notifying lecturers of students who were likely to fail. So even before we get to midterm, the lecturer had an idea of students who were not pulling their weight or who were not accessing the system, so that these lecturers will contact the students and find out why, or even the rapid response unit will contact them and find out if there was any challenge. Now, I know you'll be wondering, how about training? Yes, when it comes to training, Valley View University has a culture. And the culture is this. At the beginning of each semester, we train our faculty on how to teach online. So we take them through how to teach using Moodle and then other mobile platforms. So this was something we were doing even before the pandemic. So we had to continue this. And in the case of students, we had a course, especially for the weekend mode, called Introduction to Online Learning, where we take our students through how to study online using technology. So we have started this. And what we had to do was to do something like a refresher training for faculty and students. And the training was very successful because we had the Faculty of Science, the teaching faculty from the Faculty of Science and the Information Technology Services spearheading this training. So it made it very, very successful. And what we did was to create a web portal where all these resources could be accessed. We also created infographics that were self-explanatory. We had user manuals, and I can tell you that most of our videos have received about 29,000 views currently. So that was done to make sure that users could access these resources anytime they needed them. Okay, so we got to examination, and exam proctoring is very, very important when it comes to online learning. So for the synchronous way of writing exams, we looked at techniques like shuffling questions, where my question, my number 1 will be your number 10. And we also looked at shuffling options. So if it's a multiple choice exams, although your number 1 is my number 10, we get to know that your option A might be my option F. So we did that. And we even went ahead to allow lecturers to have question banks where questions could be fetched from a pool. So you end up having students answering different questions. So when you try to cheat or you try to ask your colleague an answer to a particular question, you realize that you are answering different questions altogether. And we also restricted the examination to specific dates. So a student will be notified that you have an exam in the next 2 weeks. However, when you click, you don't see the questions until it is time for you to take the exams. We had a cutoff date, something like a grace period for students submitting their answers to you. And this grace period was not known to the students. So what we did was that if the student has 24 hours to submit an answer, they are given a grace period of, let's say, 1 or 2 hours, depending on the lecturer. It's the lecturer's discretion or the exam officer's discretion. So the student is not told of, or they are not told of this grace period. So they'll be thinking, okay, they have just 1 hour left. Unknown to them that even if they fail to submit within the 1 hour left, they still have a grace period, just to make sure those in very bad internet connectivity areas could also go ahead and submit their answers. We had a feature on the system that could track the IP addresses of users. So anytime an IP address answers questions for 2 users, a flag is raised. So there was a need to investigate and find out what exactly happened. We could track the geolocation of users writing exams. And we could even see pictures of those taking the exams. Now, when it comes to the asynchronous way of writing exams, lecturers were encouraged to set questions in a way that will prevent cheating. So you can even Google all you want, but you wouldn't have answers to the questions. And you had to think, read, think, and then apply what you have read. We also have a plagiarism tool for checking content from online sources. So that was done for examination. Now, we also did something that is very, very important I would like to mention. So we have an analytics engine that was monitoring what was going on the e-learning portal. We're looking at users and where they are coming from. So I would like to take you through some of the statistics that our analytics engine captured. Now, the e-learning platform had 8,667 users. And out of these 8,667, only 285 users were not active on the platform. That is a little over, I think, 3 or 4% of the total e-learning population. And before the pandemic, we were receiving around 600 users on our web resources each day. That number shot up to an average of 3,000 per day. And we had the infrastructure to accommodate this traffic. So the analytics engine was looking at the kind of operating system that users were using. In the case of operating systems, we had about 54.89% of our users using Android OS. That should tell you they were using handheld devices or Android phones. And we had 28.95% using the Windows operating system. So it could either be a computer or a Windows phone. And we had 12.41% using iOS, etc. For browsers, majority of our users were using Chrome. So we had 61.17% using the Chrome browser, 10.53% using Safari. Firefox had 6.80%, etc. And we also wanted to know where our users were coming from. So 90.58% of users were coming from Ghana. They were in-house. We had 2.89 coming from the US and 1.35 coming from Nigeria. And looking at the gender ratio, we had 57.3% being male and 42.7% being female. And we still drilled down to look at the age bracket, so that based on the age, we could provide solution to them based on their needs. So we had about 38% falling between the bracket of 18 to 24 years. We had a little over 40% falling between the bracket of 24 to 34%. And we had 11% being 35 to 44 years, and around 5% being 45 to 54 years. And we had some who were above 65 years, but they were, I think, less than 1%. And I know you'll be asking yourself, why all these statistics? We were proactive. We wanted to find solutions based on the analytics. So if you know the kind of browser your users are using, look for challenges surrounding that particular browser. If you know the kind of operating system your users are using, you find solution or technical challenges that your users were likely to face, then you can even provide a solution before your users come calling. So we used all these analytics to better help us provide solution for our users. And let me mention that we had a rapid response team that was always on standby to provide assistance. So all through the examination period, they were there helping with examination challenges. They helped faculty and students with login challenges on how to set up their mobile devices. They also helped with course enrollment. Now, we also took care of backup, which is very, very important. What if today someone gets into your system and deletes everything you have? You should be able to continue. There should be that business continuity as soon as that happens. So we're doing database backup. We're doing backup at the application level. We were even doing individual backups for lecturers. And we also did, we took snapshots of our servers to make sure that if anything happened to our server, we could just get up from the ground and then be up and running without even our users noticing downtime. So that was done. And we went ahead and implemented a similar thing for our basic schools. Valley University has basic schools, and we did this for our preschool, lower primary, upper primary, and junior high. So as we speak, they are in the house, learning and teaching online is ongoing. So they are also on a separate system, model to be specific. That was done for the basic school. Now, we couldn't have achieved all these without going through some challenges. Of course, we encountered a few challenges, and one of them was cost for hosting. Our budget shot up drastically when we decided to go for infrastructure as a service from a cloud provider. So that was a challenge for us. And the usual network connectivity for students who were from communities that internet connectivity was bad. And we also experienced a few cyber attacks here and there. We got usage challenges where students would contact you and tell you, I'm unable to use the system because of their fear or the phobia for technology. We also had challenges with space or storage. Now, let me just run you through how we addressed most of these challenges, or some of these challenges. So in the case of the hosting, the budget, we noticed that during the COVID-19 period, during this period, a lot of organizations are giving out freebies or giving out services for free. So we wrote to our cloud service provider and asked for every bit. And God being so good, we received, I think, 20% discount on whatever we're supposed to pay. So that went a long way to help us take part of the hosting cost. And in terms of network connectivity, we asked our faculty to complement whatever they were doing on the e-learning portal using social media networks or WhatsApp, Telegram, etc. So those who could not access the e-learning portal were still receiving resources, links to videos on their WhatsApp and Telegram pages as a complement. And for cyber attacks, yes, there were a few denial of service or distributed denial of service attacks, people trying to break into our service and all that. So we did our homework. We fortified our service in-house. We used the CSI benchmarks to do server hardening to make sure that we're fortified. We also leveraged on third-party security mechanisms to better protect our service. And in the case of usage, we were always on standby to assist users, sometimes on phone, via chat, and there were resources to assist users as well. Now, for storage or space, what we did was to use our Google Drive repository. So huge files like videos were uploaded into our repository, and we embedded the links within the e-learning portal. So when a student goes there, they click on the video link, they get to watch the video on the e-learning portal, unknown to them that the video is actually coming from a repository somewhere on the servers of Google. So basically that is our success story, and we thank you so much for your time. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Asare. Now, what I will do is that there's one thing I didn't do in the beginning, so that now I can tell people who you are and how you managed with your team to drive through. Mr. Asare is a lecturer at the Information Technology Department and the webmaster of Valley View University. He is also the team leader of the Educational and Instructional Technology Support Unit. He holds an MSc in Information Technology from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology here in Ghana, Kumasi. Mr. Michael is an e-learning, M-learning, and Google Suite for Education trainer. He has been the webmaster for Valley View since 2012. So it's not surprising. He is a member of the team that developed the school management system. He has a publication on an enhanced triple data encryption standard algorithm, blah, blah. It's a long one. And he's passionate about information and cybersecurity, as we have heard him talking. So Mr. Asare, he told us a lot of things. I won't be able, in the interest of time, to recapture everything. But in summary, what I picked, if you also picked it, is the importance of skill, the importance of treating your alumni as human beings with love. They will always come and support you in cash or kind. You heard them all saying how much they were assisted by their alumni. And you should also take note that they have a faculty of science which houses the ICT department and so on. And so these are in-house advantages, competitive advantages that they took on board to help them. I'm just summarizing so that you get the bit of it. They were worried about security, key issues. They were worried about space. Most of the time we are told on our laptops and all, you need to at least manage the space and storage so that you don't run out of it. How they manage the exams. You know, in most cases, people have not been embracing online and ODL because of these assessment issues, the credibility of them. I thank you. And this has been quite informative. Even if I say I'm a quality assurance expert and I know it, most of it, I have also learned a lot. So from here, we are now rushing for our time. We want to hear Miss Abigail Ajiwa. She's a final year student of Valley View. She's pursuing a Bachelor of Education program in English language. She aspires to pursue higher degrees in an area of studies to become an authority in a field. Please just quickly tell us about your experience as a student. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Makuku. It's an honor to be part of this program. So before we were informed that when this whole COVID-19 started, most of us felt that we are going to stay home till the COVID-19 is over before we go back to school to continue our education. But a notice came that they are migrating us all to continue our education on the internet. And we had our own fears. Network challenge was a fear, the cost involved, how are we going to manage with our study groups? And some of us felt that COVID-19 is enough for the year. The semester can wait. Anytime COVID is over, we can continue from there. But the school pushed through with the idea of continuing the semester on the internet. So during the lecture, it was very interactive. We didn't know it was going to be this way. It was very interactive. We had our materials needed. In fact, some of our lecturers prepare slides ahead of a lesson, and they are being given to us through the module and sometimes the Telegram page, where we even were able to create smaller groups, WhatsApp and then Telegram groups. We discuss in our smaller groups, read through before we meet our lecturers for a particular lesson. We also have videos, and then we have links leading to videos on YouTube teaching a particular concept of the course that we were doing. We have books and other materials that really help us through the whole program. Group and individual assignments were also given to us, and they were all time bound. So we worked through all that and we submitted them. And during our quiz, that was where we had a little bit of challenge because of the network issue. We had some students being logged out automatically by the system. It means that they couldn't write the quiz. But then when we reported them, a provision were made for these students to write the exam before they are being graded, because it wasn't their fault not to write those quizzes. And then before we would write our exams, then the government announced that students, final year students, should go back to school. We were not happy about it. Initially, we didn't want the e-learning. But when the government said we should go back to school, we said, no, we are not going back to school. We have started this course online, so we want to finish online. I'm sure at the back of our minds, we were like, the exams is going to be so easy at the comfort of our homes, because we are going to have our books available. We are going to have our friends on phones and conference call to help us. But we didn't know that the school that stands for excellence and integrity has really strategized and has put in their exams question in a way that you cannot copy. Our exams was a synchronous type. So, and because the questions were reshuffled, personally, I remember I called a friend and I asked him about his question, about answer to a particular question. I read the question to him and he said he doesn't have that question. That was when I got to know that we are having different answers, we are having different questions, and even if we are having the same question, the position of the questions were different. My question 15, maybe someone's question 55. And because it's time bound, no one would want to waste their time, go to question 50, read through, look for that question and help you answer. And the questions were so craftily designed that even if you queue them in Google, you don't even find the answers, which means that if you do not prepare well, if you didn't prepare so well, if you didn't read and understand the course, you have your books available, but you will not find the answers in the books. So the more practice was actually taken care of, and we couldn't cheat during the exams because of how the whole system was putting together. We had a little challenges. That was network, which is a general problem in the country. But once we report to the school, they quickly find a way around it to solve these issues for us. And some students couldn't register because they wanted us to register so that they can migrate us onto the e-learning system. Those who couldn't register on time couldn't register at all to go through the whole course with us. But then a provision has been made for them to start a summer course, which is for those who couldn't register and had a course with that, they are going to start a summer course. Some have done theirs, some are about to start theirs. So it means that if we are to graduate together, they will still have that opportunity to have their course this year and graduate with us. So basically, it was interesting. At the beginning, we didn't want it, but when the government wanted us to go back to school, we still said no, we want to finish it here. It was interesting. It was a challenge that as students we picked up, and it was a change, and it has broadened our horizon, and we are very glad that this thing was a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Very articulate about the issues, and everything else is falling into place. She is acknowledging that we even tried to do this academic dishonesty, but it couldn't take off the ground because of the measures that have been put. As a quality assurance expert, it excites me that we can even have credible exams under online and open and distance learning. Thank you. We have another student. This was a female student. We also picked on a male student, Master Oswald Ahenkani. Oswald is a fourth-year undergraduate computer science student of Valley View. He is poised to perform well and fully utilize his potentials to effectively develop his skill and contribute to the nation's growth and satisfaction to whoever will need his services. It is his aspiration to find a position to meet his competencies, capabilities, education, experience, and work hard to promote the goodwill and increase output wherever he finds himself. Before we have Mr. Oswald, I just want to say the student voice is very important, but most of the times there are institutions which disregard the students' voices, and they make decisions on behalf of these students. Not thinking about the fact that students also students as old as 60 or 80. So I think we need to make sure that we take care of this. What is happening to our system? Dufia?
Dr. Makuku, I'm working on it.
Oh, thank you very much. Because I think we are. So, Mr. Oswald, just to share with us, but don't repeat what has been said in the interest of time, because we still have Mr. Mankwa to talk about quality assurance, and then we check on the wrapping up and we finish. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Doc. I really appreciate. My name is Oswald, as rightly said. Talking about my experience with the team, for me, I had the opportunity to be a student and also work with the team. So I have double experience. Okay, so with my experience as a student, I would say it was a nice experience working online, trying to continue our education fully online. And as a support unit member, I also had the opportunity to work with other lecturers and other students as well, so that I will help the lecturers upload their PowerPoint slides. So, you know, we had to customize them into a very Valley View standard ones, so that we all have a uniform in our presentations. So we did that, and also had to help in adding and removing some of the courses that students were not supposed to have or were supposed to have. So other students were having other courses added to theirs, and others too were having their registered courses not available on the system. So I was also trained to help solve that issue. So unenroll them and enroll them where necessary. Okay, so I also had the opportunity to take some students and lecturers through how to set up the audiovisual tool embedded in the system so that they can also have a live lecture for the students. Beginning the students, some of us, some of my colleagues were facing challenges, first of all, logging in and also trying to access the audiovisual tool we have. But like rightly said earlier, after the video from our psychologists, people or the students were calmed down, and also after seeing the videos we shared on how to use the platform, I think along the line they were much comfortable with that. And also we had to help other lecturers download their resources, books and stuff, so that we can help them upload onto the system. Okay, talking about myself as a student, I faced a lot of challenges. One, because I was part of the team, I had to combine working as a student and also working as a sports unit member. So whilst probably I have a class, I'll get a call that I can't log in, or there's this course, like all those challenges, and I had to attend to them as well. So that was one of my challenge. And I think challenges containing that students were sometimes logged out of the system whilst teaching and learning were going on. So I think these were some of the challenges I had as a student because of the course they were coming in, and I had to assist them. And as a technical support unit, the only challenge was trying to convert the presentation slides onto the customized theme so that we will have a uniform one. So that was kind of hectic, and also trying to take other students through the system. So that's my experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being patriotic to the institution and the role you played to make things move. I think it will go down the memory lane, Valley View University and Ghana in general. So we have Mr. Amankwa, who is coming on board. Is a quality assurance, is in the quality assurance directorate, is an assistant registrar there since 2017. Sir Samuel has attended a number of my quality assurance in higher education, quality assurance in research, quality assurance in higher education, learner-centered teaching skills. And it is my sincere hope that during this period, he made use of the knowledge and skills that he gained from all the workshops that he attended from the Association of African Universities. He obtained his first and second degrees in education from the University of Education, Winneba, Kumasi campus. He also holds a postgraduate diploma in pastoral ministry from Valley View University. He has worked with the university since 2001. A rolling rock does not gather moss, but I think for him, because he has been at the same station for all this long, he knows the system. He is motivated in his area of work in quality assurance by the quote by Vince Lombardi that every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. Autograph your work with excellence. I think that's the spirit which the whole university has got. He is married to Abigail and blessed with 4 children. The latest one just came recently, so I understand. Thank you. So say Amankwa, take us through, don't repeat what has been said, and then we move on in the interest of time. Thank you. Hello, say Amankwa.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for putting me online, and good afternoon to everybody. My video is not on yet, but then quality assurance is very prominent in times of rolling up this e-learning
Mr.
successfully.
Amankwa, can you kindly remove your mask so that we can hear you audibly, and also your video is on so you can speak? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a jiffy. Okay. Hello. Hello. Am I clear?
Yes, you are clear. You can go on.
Thank you very much. Right from the beginning, quality assurance was not left out. We see that for successful online program to be rolled out, we need to get the administrative support, their commitment, and that is why they put up such a team, and we were monitoring their activities as well. And the second part is accreditation. Because we had not accredited our programs online, we needed to write to our accrediting agency or board, which is the National Accreditation Board, Ghana, telling them our commitment and strategies, technology that we are going to use in the process, our assessment and examination plans, and how students and staff were going to be engaged and support. So we were able to inform our accrediting body about this. Apart from that, we went through a checklist involving the technical plan and support in place. And I think all the presentation made so far show clearly that the technical support given was enormous. Just-in-time support was very critical. And therefore, the team had a communication team that was actually handling all information and then giving just-in-time responses to both students and faculty queries. Another area of concern in quality is the instructional proper. And as faculty members were able to upload their courses, we made sure that course outlines stipulating the course objectives, the content to cover were all in place. And on the system, there are various materials like access to the library, reference repositories were made available because students and faculty members were going to teach from a distance and not from campus. And therefore, we took advantage of the free publishing houses that had given us room to use their repositories. And the library also gave a number of publishing houses that students could also download textbooks to support them. Another area that is critical has been the examination. Of course, much has been said about that, but we must say that there was a timetable prepared for all examinations, and therefore lecturers did not follow their own time anyhow or as and when they wanted. We also saw that the faculties and the schools had examination papers or questions moderated so that it meets the standards of the university. Most of the questions, as has been said, were applied in nature, apart from the multiple choices that were shuffled, applied in nature such that it becomes very difficult for an individual to be able to cheat. Another area that was very important and we're monitoring was how we were going to assess the entire process and evaluate the e-learning, which is very critical. Therefore, the Quality Assurance Directorate developed or designed two instruments, one for students and then the other for lecturers, highlighting on accessibility, student competencies using technology, the instructional methods, the teaching environment, academic integrity, technical support that they got, e-learning experiences, and then general comments were given out. In fact, because examination is over, we have been able to deploy these questionnaires for students and faculty members to be able to give us their feedback. Then we can analyze and then evaluate the entire process together with the report that the team has shared with us. I must say that even though COVID-19 caught us unaware, as Valley View University stands for excellence and integrity and service, all the necessary or required to support that should be exhibited in a normal traditional face-to-face classroom was deployed in the online as well, so that nobody will be left out. Indeed, there are few students that were unable to write the examination. The university administration has taken it up, and in the month of between the month of June and July and August, provisions are being made for them to make up, so that at the end of the day, everybody is covered. In terms of quality assurance, we want to assure all of us that per the systems plans put in place, we're able to deploy it well and serve the students, the faculty in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Amangwa. In the interest of time, I will not repeat much, but I can say I've seen practical application of what we did in the workshops, and this is what this area is problematic because a number of people lack the training and knowledge and skills in quality assurance because it's a relatively new phenomenon up to now. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, the struggle was for me to do a globe-trotting and trying to do institutional quality assurance workshops, and those became more effective. Let's have this end. I think it's a what end, although we are not yet taking questions. Let me hear quickly what Dr. Ponam wants to say. I will cut you if I get the sense so that I save time and we move on. Go on, Dr. Ponami. Hello. Okay, so for now, let me go back to share my screen, having heard that we will still have maybe some other time with him. So those are my contact details, because I'm looking at us having further communication and further arrangements of quality assurance workshops and learner-centered teaching skills workshops and research workshops. I saw some questions on research popping up, but for this time, allow me to quickly continue with, yes, the presentation. So where are we now? Call to action, the leaders and higher education community. But before that, I just want to say in AAU, our quality assurance objectives are looking at supporting higher education institutions with quality assurance mentoring and guiding resource materials, the setting up of quality assurance units, and robust quality management systems. That's what I've been doing all the years, and it's on the fingertips. The existing national quality assurance agencies and institutional quality assurance units, quality assurance in online, open and distance learning, quality assurance in teacher training programs. If now the teachers that are being trained do not have the ICT higher education organization, we are going to have an engagement on the 2nd of July. Again, very straightforward. But without what we were told by Valley View University, we cannot move on. Nothing can move. The university management and leaders should see the need for this, especially after everybody was caught pens down by the COVID-19 pandemic. Who knows, is it the first and last for this time, or we need to just be ever prepared? generate new policies, handbooks, evaluations for both staff and students, champion robust quality management systems. That is very important. And we also do the capacity building like you see there. So we are calling to action everyone, invest in ICTs and internet services, generate and design new policies, revise the existing policies so that they cover this. Our national regulatory agencies need to act fast in order to accommodate the accreditation and the auditing and the supporting of this digitized mode, which I think everybody is being called to and compelled to move towards. Initiate capacity building for everyone, even students. You heard it. If students do not know and they are not ICT happy, how are they going to be taught? The lecturers, so it's not only the focus on lecturers, the focus should be on everyone. Should we waste time reinventing the wheel? What do we have at our disposal? We have, for example, at continental level, African Center for Distance Education, they've got toolkits. African standards and guidelines, they were designed and written under the Accra Initiative Project, phase 1, where I said I'm the Accra project manager in the AAU. National regulatory agencies, there are some who have already been accrediting the online programs which were done in certain faculties and departments, not fully fledged in universities. A number of African universities which have already been doing it. I just want to mention UNISA, University of South Africa. It has got more than 140 years of experience in online and ODL. We can also pluck a leaf on what they've been doing. What are the requisite skills, survival skills for the new digital space? Critical thinking and problem solving, we had it. Collaboration, cooperation, and teamwork. Without that, we cannot achieve. This is not the time for competition and conflict. Particularly as institutions, I just want to say, we need to come together to have at national level an account for internet, because if you have one account, it means your internet services are going to be 70 to 80% cheaper, no matter the size of your institution. Agility and adaptability. There are people who don't want change. They fear change and they want the status quo to remain. There is no space. You become irrelevant and you become obsolete. Initiative and entrepreneurialism within all this, where we have these challenges, some people are seeing great opportunities, curiosity and imagination to do new things, and all the other things there. Be somebody who will initiate the change that is needed. And I'm happy that the quality assurance person and even those who were presenting, we saw an aspect of planning. We plan, we implement. When we implement, we monitor and evaluate what we have done in order to effect the changes that can see us getting to our goals. And so please, this quality assurance cycle is key and should remain in our heads. What are the other quality assurance principles we need to take care of? Accountability, transparency, efficiency, effectiveness, avoiding double standards, communication, documentation, testing, and research. I think these are part of the things that carried Valley View University to a successful achievement and goal. Again, even if we move towards the digital terrain, quality assurance is at institutional level. In our quality assurance units, it's like a cell in biology or an atom in physics. That's where quality assurance presides. And we are the custodians of quality and quality assurance in our institutions. But we also work with the professional bodies, like designing new programs and revising old programs. International quality standards, we need them for mobility and staff exchange. Regional quality assurance national quality assurance standards, we need to work with everybody, every national stakeholder in higher education in order to make sure that we are successful in whatever we do. I just want to thank you for this time. And before I go on to the question and answer session, I just want to quickly go back. Now it's not allowing me to go back. I don't know what is happening. Okay, so while I'm done with that, I will quickly switch on to the question and answer session. We have a few minutes, but still I want to try again and share my screen as I attend to the quality and to the question and answer session. Right. So I think we will move on. Dufia, I can't see the question and the communications section. Where is it? The chat.
Dr. Makuku, the chat is below your screen.
No, I'm projecting, and so
yes. So if you are projecting, you can't get to the chat, Dr. Makuku.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing, but I hope people can take the contact details with your phones quickly. I will do that again before we adjourn. So let me go quickly to the chat and check on the questions which have been asked. Allow me to start from the bottom. How did Valley View University ensure that the student being examined was their very particular student? Can somebody quickly answer, please, from Valley View?
Okay, so this is how we are going to do it. Dr. Winfred, Michael Asari, Samuel Amankwa, and Abigail, you have all been made co-host. And so if you would want to answer the specific question, you just unmute your microphone and you answer them. Thank you very much to Valley View.
Thank you very much, Dr. Makuku.
Thank you.
So on how we ensured that the student answering our question was indeed our student was to check their IP address, the IP address they were using to take the examination, and also to check their geolocation, so that in case you give your details to someone to answer the question for you, these two things will change. And we also used the picture of the student writing the exams to make sure that that student was our student. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me quickly move on. There's somebody, Tola has shared a link. He said, I have the questionnaire in Google. Okay, those interested can also respond. How was internet connectivity issue for the students enrolled? Can somebody quickly respond to that?
Okay, thank you. What we did was that, first of all, our websites, our e-learning platforms were 0 rated. Students could have access to it depending on the network they were using for free. Now, aside that, we also gave students data. So what we did was that students on Vodafone and Airtel had data to access other pages. And then for some students who were in quite remote areas, what we did was that you send bulk messages, they would come to town, download the materials where they can have very good connectivity. They download the materials. In desperate moments, and there was nothing we could do.
Okay, thank you. Are you done, Sir Michael?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, let's look at the other one. How any adjustment to the fees structure to support this new normal?
Okay, thank you once again. What we did was in this presentation,
Dr. Winfred, you are not very audible, so can you quickly check on your speakers? Thank you.
thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Our students, the administration gave students a 95% school fees to pay. At least students was that any student who paid 95% of their school fees qualified to write exams, and so at least to help them reduce the cost for them during this difficult period. So that's what we did.
Okay, so there were questions that were sent to my email because it was attached to the Zoom, and this is from the National Council of Higher Education in Malawi. Professor Ignacio wanted to ask a question for Valley View University. He said, how did the university prepare all its students and staff for online learning so that none of the students will be left behind due to the technological gap? What have been the experiences, feedback from students to date? I think we've had some of them from the presentations we've had, but if there is more to say, it's open for you to talk. Michael Asari, you can answer this question.
Thank you very much. So one of the things we did when we started this was to get our psychologists to psych the minds of our users, not only students, but lecturers as well, to assure them that the future looked bright and we had their interest at heart. So I think that was one of the things we did. And we also, along the line, supported them anytime the need arose. So basically, that is what we did.
Thank you. Another, any sequelae, how do you take care of issues of cheating? I think we had that verification of who is writing exams. Irene, do you have more questions so that we can alternate? While this time looking for questions, you can read a question so that we save on time.
Okay, so there is one from Professor Emeritus from Uganda, and he wanted to know, he's keenly interested to understand the perception of what will happen after this pandemic is contained. How would the lockdown lifting will be handled by various government and educational institutions? How would we go back to where we were earlier or adapt to the new technological innovations that we are all trying to introduce? In any case, all the institutions are going under large financial losses. And so that's what Prof wants to know from Valley View. What will happen? What will be the perception after the pandemic is contained? And how would the lockdown lifting be handled by various institutions? So that's what
thank you very much for this question. Actually, because all programs are accredited under regular or some kind of mode, it leaves us or gives us the opportunity to apply for accreditation for specific programs to be rendered online, so that accreditation board will evaluate the systems put in place to qualify us to run such programs basically online, looking at best practices and then the technology, the various assessment instruments, and then support files, whether we will be able to even have our library fully automated. This goes into that preparation. So until we're able to do that, we cannot actually say we are going to go fully online. There are many preparatory work that needs to be done. Apart from that, we can look at having blended session with a new normal in place. We can look at a blended education, hybrid form of teaching and learning. For that one, I think it is what we've been able to try. Other institutions can also look at it, and then together we'll be able to have the post-COVID-19 experiences put together. I believe strongly that this COVID-19 have really taught us a lesson that the idea that online education is looked down upon, now we see that it is necessary. And as institutions across the continent, it brings us to the table to take critical steps and look at how we can support each other so that we can run this type of education to our populace everywhere in the continent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Some of the questions that I see have already been answered during the presentation. Of course, they ran online examinations as we had. I'm answering to Musoka. If so, what nature we had, the nature of the exams. There are many people who are asking about this. If you gave me a wrong email address when you were registering, you will not get the link, because soon after we are going to share the recording of the proceedings. So make sure that you gave us, that's why I was trying to screen my contact details, so that if you don't receive anything in the next 2 days, you should know that emails to you are bouncing. And so you need to make sure that you give me correct contact details. Irene, I don't know what you have on your end there, but we are also running out of time. What I want to say is that if there are key questions, you can just write and address them to us. I just want to have the concluding remarks that I said some of the issues are at individual levels. Some of the issues are at institutional level. Some of the issues are at national level and others at continental level. So what we are saying as the Association of African Universities is that as an individual, you need, like yesterday, to acquire digital skills, because they are no longer an option. The world where we are moving to, everything is digitized. For you to get a job, that is what you need. So that's number one. Number two, let's take advantage of the free online courses and also even the other webinars that are taking place, so that we get the knowledge and skills on how to move on. To the university leaders, I say it's either you shape up or ship out, because if you are not responsive and check on your priorities, your university is likely to discontinue. For state universities, let's try and engage with our governments through our ministries to have national research and education networks, so that we together collectively get internet services. But there's one thing which also nags me, this issue of separating private and public universities. I think this is an opportunity for collaborations, huge collaborations, which can see the divide between the public and private universities being reduced. That gap should be reduced for the interest of the continent and for the interest of our survival. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great pleasure working with you today. I also learned a lot. I want to thank Valley View University and the whole team. I want to thank Association of African Universities for also allowing me to have this program with you. I want to thank Irene Duffier in particular, and our ICT department, and all those behind the scenes. I want to thank the Secretary General, the Finance Director, the ICT Director, because and my Director too, Prof. Ba, for making a decision that we acquire these platforms too. They prioritize that we get them, so that we can have these programs and running them seamlessly for the benefit of African education, so that we remain relevant. To those who are AAU members, I say continue to be active and work with us. To those who are not yet AAU members, please get hold of me and we continue the discussion so that you benefit a lot from being a member of AAU. We can share the benefits with you. You can start the process by visiting www.aau.org to get the form and start the process. You contact us along the line if you have any challenges. Once again, if there's anybody whom I haven't thanked by name, please forgive me. The participants, it cannot be an event without participants. I thank you from wherever you were coming from, and I say, God and Allah bless you. I thank you if I've been and everything we have organized in AAU have been of help and interest to you. You can also write to me and suggest any other webinars that you want to be conducted for your benefit as a higher education family. I thank you.
All right, Dr. Makuku, just before we go, we want to tell all our participants that we have webinars, faculty modular webinars every Thursday, and then everyone is free to join. And I also want to reiterate what you said earlier on, that if you are not members, you can still join. Our doors are open. Valley View is our member. That is why they were given this platform to share their experience with us, learn from us. And so if you are not members, kindly see Dr. Makuku, write to her, and then you can join. And also, if you are a member, you need to be active. We are encouraging everyone to pay their subscriptions, and so that we can continue to give you this precious information that we give to our members. And so thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you. The next one is on Thursday, quality assurance. We have seasoned experts who are coming to speak to us so that we will take them to our universities. And so we expect you same time on Thursday, 11 o'clock GMT. We will be here to serve you. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a pleasant day. Bye.